Welcome! If you've ever wanted to create a path tag, we are going to be going through the process step by step from designing to ordering and what sort of options you have for creating your very own personalized signature collectible and tradable path tag. Let's go! First of all, for prizes, if you are watching now, then you can get in on the special giveaway before the design is ordered at the end of this stream. So if you are live in chat, here's your prize. Post hashtag TGIF tag in the chat to be entered to the draw and have your initials in this new path tag design and win 2 for your collection. Secondly, we have our patron prize. So patrons of Cache the Line have another opportunity to win if you email the Bruce at cachetheline.net with a path tag design that you love from the gallery by Monday. Then the best design will win a Cache the Line pen, which is right here. This is the pen that a patron will win. I've been using this. It's written on everything except for wet mush. So I'm loving it. I've got a bunch and I'm giving them away. So I will remind patrons after the stream how to get in on that draw. And one path tag prize has already been selected from an Instagram post that I made. And of the people who entered, thank you for sharing the news about this stream. But that winner is GC Jaspery. So congratulations. And if you are here live, please post short initials or a name that you would like to have etched in the design. We still need 8 more, and those will be chosen before ordering later in the stream. So post those hashtags. And if you know GC Jaspery, make sure I believe he or she gets over here into chat and posts initials for the design. So if, like I had linked up there before, if you'd like to become a patron, you can visit patreon.com/cachetheline. You can see all the tiers. Thank you all the patrons who support. All this couldn't be done without you. You make this all possible. So I'll stick that chat prize up there just so that anybody who's coming in will be able to know how to enter. All right, so a lot is going to be covered tonight. I don't want to consider myself like a pro path tag designer, but I have created a few for some friends. But there are a lot of professional and very regular path tag designers out there, and we'll get to that in a bit. So this guide is based on my own experience and methods of doing this after having ordered or created, I think, 8-9 path tags now. Others may have different way of doing things, but that's the fun of this whole creative process. If you have any questions throughout the Hangout, I'll try to address them from the chat, or you can wait and hold them to the end of the chat, and we'll see if there's anything outstanding. You can ask them again. So let's see, first of all, if there's anything here. Any questions already? Anything to relate to? That doesn't look like it. So let's get started now that my sound is on. There's always something. Okay, first off, what is a path tag? If you're in this stream and you're watching, you probably already know, but just to make sure, we'll just cover the basics. A path tag is a collectible, tradable little swag item that you can create for yourself, and people love to create them, especially in the Western countries. It's less popular, I think, out in Europe and in the East, but yeah, they are basically just little coins the size of maybe a nickel around there, and this is the latest Cache the Line for 2022 path tag that I just created. It's glow in the dark. There's also this one that you saw in the cover photo. This was the very first path tag I created for Cache the Line, path tag number 0. And we also have, well, there's endless designs. I mean, you can go to the website and you can take a look in the gallery, but I mean, most people who collect them have some way of showing them off. And so, you know, there's endless ideas you can have for creating designs that are specific to yourself as a geocacher, as a business, as a person, whatever you'd like. So lots of ideas. And this one here, this one is the excellent Geocaching Adventures latest path tag, which is going to be given away right about now. If you are on Facebook, I have created a Facebook group called Excellent Geocaching Adventures. Say yes to new excellent geocaching adventures. And if you're in that group, then every month for TGIF week, we run a little monthly EGA contest where you share your adventures, and someone gets drawn for this very exclusive path tag just for members of that Facebook group. You can get there at cacheline.net/EGA. And the winner of this month's EGA Night Trip Path Tag is... That was the worst ever. Sarah Garneau, congratulations. So we'll be in touch and make sure that you can get that EGA Path Tag ASAP. All right, so... yes. Okay. We will move straight into the website. So, if you have ever visited pathtags.com, this is what you will face when you visit the site. There's lots of information, and well, if you look at the menu, there are so many features and functions it can be overwhelming. So we're not going to dive into all of the features of the website, because there's things like clubs, there's galleries, there's trading, there's collections. All of these things become available if you sign up on the website. So first of all, well, you got to log in. So I'm logging in. Now, when you want to order a brand new path tag, yes, you first have to visit the website, and you will see that there are official designers. This isn't the page I'm looking for. Let's go to order a new path tag. Not order a new tag design, or design a tag. So there are lists of official designers. These are people you can contact if you want to have someone create one for you. You can browse their designs. You can contact them. Generally, they will charge a small commission, $25 to $35, something like that. And then you can use that design and order it yourself. So that's one way. Another one is you can go to the gallery and you can contact owners of some of these, and you can buy them from them. If you have path tags yourself, you can trade for them. There are 1,097 pages right now of designs. So loads of options there if you just want to have path tags. And of course, the other option is creating your own. And so under buy tags, which has a load of stuff, you can go to the design a tag. Going to look at design basics. So like I mentioned, however you like, have an idea in your mind, first of all, of what you'd like to see on your path tag. If you have a name or a logo or maybe a favorite animal or a scene or something like that, then it's always good to have that in mind, first of all. And you'll want to keep in mind some basic points for the standard tag. Path tags, I mean, if you look at what I showed before, you can tell that they're very solid color style designs, because what happens is they create them by filling in the gaps, the holes, the gullies of the mold with enamel, and that fills up the color. So it's a solid color based structure. And you have a variety of platings. So this one is a silver metal. There's also black plated, copper, and gold plated. And because of the way that those colored regions work, that's why a lot of the times when you look at the gallery, some of these pictures might look a little odd, especially if they take them from a photo. Let's see if there's a good one. Maybe that's a good one. Yeah. So it looks kind of odd because it has to be in a way created kind of like a comic. So you've got all these solid color regions outlined by the metal plating. And that's really about the only way you can do it through pathtags.com. Now you can get into things like geocoins, which are much more complex and a lot more flexible. But for path tags, that's kind of how you have to think about it, an outlined comic style appearance. You also need to remember where the hole is going to be. So if you have a hole or you have a design, but you haven't thought about the hole, there might not be a place. You might get a hole cutting out a section of your design that you want to keep in. Might knock out a portion of the star here, for example. So you got to have that in mind when you're coming up with a design. There's also the basic standard path tag is just a plain old circle with that hole. There are options to create custom shapes, but that can get super expensive if you want to create huge amounts of them. So if you just want to start off with a simple one, it's a circle. You want to keep text simple and clear as much as possible. We'll get into a lot of that in the design later on as well. And the back of the path tags, a standard backing is a design and a custom code. And that code is the tracking code. If in geocaching with geocoins and travel bugs, there is a unique code that's specific to that item that you hold in your hand, whereas with path tags, that tracking code is unique to the design. So every path tag with that design has the same code. It's kind of the opposite of geocoins and trackables, where those ones you can track them from location to location, that individual coin as it moves, whereas a path tag, they could be everywhere, and you can find it and track down that design by using the code and then record that you now have it in your collection and you found it at a certain location. So it's kind of a reverse tracking system. So when you're submitting a design, it's the staff that look at it will do their best to make sure that your design is good for the mold. They want to make sure that when they print the mold for that coin, that there aren't tiny lines that won't stay, or leaking, or color regions that aren't bounded by something to keep the enamel inside. All that kind of stuff. They'll look at that, and then you can do this back and forth exchange until you find a design that you can approve, that you like, that they can print, and then it moves forward. So you don't have to worry about something like that, about a bad design going through. They have a warranty for quality for the most part, which we'll get to. And so you will sign off on the final design before it goes to print. So when we want to order our first tag, you will actually say design a tag. So if you go to order a new path tag, other way around. If you want to design a tag, this is more of a design guide. So this will give you all the information about designing a tag and what your options are. But if you want to order, you literally go to order a new path tag. The basic order, so this initial first order will have 50 path tags. So because it's a brand new path tag, you're allowed a 50 minimum for that order. It's the basic plating is the 2mm thickness. It's silver. You can have up to 10 colors per custom side. So basically a standard path tag will be one face, so 10 colors on that side, and you'll have a randomized 7-digit serial number, so not a vanity code, not one that you want to choose yourself. That is an option though. And there's 3-year maintenance of your mold. So once you order it, it'll be on their shelf for 3 years. If you don't order anything using that mold after 3 years, it will be discarded. So if it's a one-time thing, that's fine. But if you want to keep going, you got to make sure that you're ordering them within that 3-year period. And you also have access to the community for trading and collecting all of that. When you have a login, when you create and order a path tag, it becomes part of your collection. So everything keeps track of that. So that's the basic one. When you order the that package, you also every order comes with your bag, drawstring. That's the word I was looking for. Drawstring top, and a small pack of clips for attaching your path tag to your keychain if you want to carry it around to show off. That minimal order is $120 US plus shipping, and they quite often, well, always have a coupon for every month that is automatically applied to your order. So if you were to order in April, you get $10 off. There might be occasional other coupons you can add, but there's always going to be something for everybody every month. And then you also can pick your plating. I mentioned there's the 4 types. Personally, the one that I showed before, the cache line number 0, this is the black nickel plating. And what I've noticed is after a long time in the sun or getting rubbed a lot, the black starts to come off and it looks more like silver. So it looks really cool and it's great for solid lines. But on the long term, I'm not a huge fan of the black. I tend to stick with the silver now just because it keeps the design that you like. So then you get custom options. So let's go back to order a new path tag. You can also pay to create your own custom shape. So you can, up to a maximum of 31.75 or 1 1/4 inches, you can create your own shape, which, a lot of people like to do that, but at the same time, a lot of these display cases that people have are set to only fit circles. So it's kind of a risk if you go non-standard from the circle because it might not fit in people's displays. But that is an option. And that basic one custom side comes with a bare back with space for the tracking code. And you can use your vanity code, all of that. But obviously there aren't pre-designed backings for a custom shape. So you also have the option of creating a 2-sided path tag where you can design the backside and put whatever you want on there as well. So that's also an option. But again, it's another costly one. So tonight, all right, let's go. One other thing. So the other choice is you can order, as mentioned earlier, you can order from one of the existing official design partners. So this is the same. Using these links takes you to the gallery, but is basically the same thing, but filters for just that designer. So you can see all of the designs that they've made and whether you like their style or not, and decide whether you want to hire them to create your path tag. So lots of options, and I think this is the full list of businesses that design for you. All right, so we're going to make our own editor. So on the Design a Tag page, this is the one that gives you all of your guides, all of your information that you need to know. They also provide an application that you can use yourself if you don't have a paint program or an easy way of creating a design to submit to the website. So you can download this application and use that to create it. I'm not going to use, I'll show you in a second, but I'm not going to use that to create the design because I'm a Corel guy. I grew up with Corel, so I'm used to using CorelDRAW. So we'll do it that way. So there are some tips to go over just before you create design. So first of all, the tags are small. Like I said, they're around the size of a nickel, maybe just a little bit larger. So as they say, tags are small and less is often more. So keeping it simple is something that's hard for me, but it's always a good idea because the more complex it gets, the harder it is to work out the little intricacies. So don't overthink designs. Be specific. Interpretation leads to iteration. Avoid using terms like slightly or bigger. So this is the back and forth if you're trying to help the staff decide what to do with your design to make it work. Be specific about what you want, and they'll help make sure that it works. You design the front and you pick the back. Like I said, the standard tag, you design the front, and then through the process, you pick the back from a gallery of available backings. And I also mentioned earlier, it's solid colors. There's no gradients. So where it looks like, say you want a shade, it's hard to create a path tag with something like a gradient sky where it goes from red to blue or something like that. What you'd have to do is perhaps get creative in how you separate the individual colors with lines between them so that the solid enamel can slowly gradient. So you have to get really creative if you're thinking gradients in your design. Color is your best friend and worst enemy. Again, they along the same lines as keeping it simple. You can use up to 10 colors, but they suggest using 6 colors in your design for quality and clarity with bright colors. That's up to you, really. 10 colors can go away quickly if you're starting to do shades. It gets used up quick. They don't do 3D. If you're thinking geocoin and you're looking at really cool designs on this coin that's in front of you and how 3D and depth and all that stuff, they don't have that in path tags because they're tiny. They're tiny. They have, technically, there are 2 layers that they provide a warranty for quality. But as they mentioned here, if you are an advanced designer, they have multiple levels. So you can do kind of an intermediate raised metal in the middle height. But it's advanced. It's not a supported process and voids the warranty they offer on quality. You accept the risk when using advanced techniques like this. If you're absolutely sure it can work, go for it, but just be careful. And we'll go over that later as well. Avoid fine colored details. They're applied using enamel, and it's a liquid injected into the tiny canals in your tag by hand with a syringe. I mean, just picture somebody sitting there with the little eyeglass and the coin, and they're like, putting the color on there. It's not a machine that does it, so you got to be careful about those little details. It's going to be hard for them to get those tiny little dots and whatnot. And uploading, they recommend a 500 by 500 pixel JPEG. We'll get to that in the ordering process. Now, they also have a forum that you can go to, and you can ask questions, you can chat with other people, and you can figure out, you can see what other people have done, get ideas, all of that. Force Awakens says there's another list of designers in the Pathtag forums. Yes, there are loads of people who will design for you. The official design partners have met certain requirements. Those are the ones that they list on the website, but there's tons of people who will design. I'll design for you, even though I'm not listed. So, yes, lots of options there. Brent says, is TGIF tag, is this for winning something? Let me get that banner back on there because I had a different one on. Okay. Brent also says, yeah, custom shapes is a pain when it comes to displaying them on a path tag board. If you haven't checked, Brent SimRebel has some videos where he's shared his display boards. He's got some wood ones, and you can see the circles where they all go. Custom shapes just don't fit. Anything else that I missed? Okay, let's continue on. Okay. So, first off, we are going to design a TGIF tag. Yeah, this is going to be fun. First of all, like I said, start off with a sketch, a design. And I kind of had a little bit of fun. I kind of already had an idea about what I wanted to do, but I went with it for a bit and tried a couple ideas and, have an idea. So that's the best way because then you can work from that and create your design. The application that they provide, it's the tag editor, and version 2 is the current. I think it's the latest. If you were to use this application, I won't go into super depth. You can play around with it and then figure out how to do it. I think it's kind of complicated, but there's no easy way to do it. You could use Windows Paint if you want to on Windows and draw a circle and put some stuff on there and then send it off, and they'll probably try to give you something that works with that. But if you want to use their official application, you would hit new and say, let's create a test path tag. Oh, I just opened my existing one. Isn't that beautiful? Let's remove some of these. So it starts off with your basic black template. You can choose a border. These are some standard borders that they've already provided for you. There's one that's really popular. I think it's, yeah, this one is pretty common. Simple, and it's got a nice feel around the outside. So in this case, the white is going to be the highest level, and then the black is the bottom, the lowest level on the outside. So you can't have color on that outside. And then you can just add layers. So you can say, make a drawings layer and go to pen, change your color. I'm going to change it to blue. Okay. And you could start drawing. So here is the easiest way if you want to create a path tag. Use this application, draw your heart out, and add some text if you want to. So it's below, so you can change the order of the layers. Let's move it up above the drawing. Change the outline width and maybe the spacing and the rotation of the letters. Lots of little options here. Let's say you're done with that one, then you would export to a JPEG, give it a file name, and when you save it, that you can upload to the website. In a very, very simplistic explanation, that's their application. So looking now more at our design, let's get to designing a TGIF tag. First things first, on their website, in the design guide, there is an image of the template that you can use. So what I would tend to do is take a copy of the image and then paste it into the program and then use that as a base. Let's shrink it down to, let's say 23 millimeters wide. That's about the size we're working with. And if you have a paint program, you can load this and draw on it if you want to. But for me, I like vectors, which means that you can resize, you can scale, you don't get pixelated, you got all the detail you want. So I work with vectors. So usually what I would do is take this design, mimic, so create another circle about that size. And then create another one about the size of the hole. And then there's your basic template. You can put whatever you want to in there. What the better way to do it, if you care about being accurate with sizes, which is going to be important when we start talking about the template measurements. The other way you can do it is just manually. Well, let's go to the measurements first of all. So here we have our measurements. This is based on their guide on the website. So visually, these are exactly what they explain. So you've got a 23 millimeter diameter. That's what you're working with, or about 1 1/4, I think, inch, and a 2 millimeter depth. We're going to work in millimeters just because it's just easier to work with decimal numbers. So 23 millimeter diameter, 2 millimeter depth. 1 millimeter of that depth is going to be the solid part of the coin, where everything on top is going to be enamel and the various layers of thickness of metal. The hole itself is about 3.5 millimeters. And if you remember some of those other tag designs, if somebody fills up the entire tag with a color, then that hole has to have a rim. So they recommend about a quarter centimeter, 2.5, wait, 0.2, quarter millimeter, my gosh, quarter millimeter ring for a lip around that hole if you're filling it with enamel. For all of the regions that have color, you can't get any of those filled color regions, shouldn't get them less than 0.3 millimeters because there has to be space for the enamel to be, obviously. And then there's the technicalities of the molds and how the edges of the metal kind of curve in. So there's got to be space for that. So you got to keep that in mind as well. You can't have hairline color. And then there's the distance from the edge for the hole as well to keep in mind. I generally do the larger amount, 1.4 millimeter, just to be safe. There's a little bit of a leeway for that because I think they punch the hole in there, so it might not be always precisely that distance. So keep that in mind when you're placing the hole. So 2 millimeter thickness. Yes, and so this is where the advanced comes in. Remember where they mentioned the raised metal? So with a 2 millimeter thickness and a 1 millimeter section with the base, that little 0.5 millimeter raised can give an idea, a sense of depth, but you can't use that as a boundary for enamel because it's just way too thin. So you also have to be careful about its thickness and how detailed it is because of the molding process. So you can use that, you just got to be careful and don't consider it an enamel boundary. Okay, so we've got 10 colors, no gradient, and all of that. Okay. Coming up with a design. Lettering is another big concern because, people like to put text on designs like this. But if the text being so small and intricate, you have to be careful about how thick the lettering is. So there's a couple of ways you can do lettering. And if you saw from my little sketches, I was taking a few different fonts and thinking, okay, how can we make TGIF work on the path tag? How might it look cool? So these top two, these are examples of fonts or styles you probably don't want to use on a path tag because what makes these fonts cool is all of these little, the rough edges and stuff like that. This is going to be way too small for metal, raised metal, or any kind of detail. Maybe one letter if it was really large, but for lettering like that, you don't want to have that much detail. So what I went with, I started trying just more simple fonts. I kind of like the handwriting format. This is where designing in vector comes in handy because if you look here, there's a really thin part of the G. So if you need to, you can measure that gap, that it's still that minimum width of about 0.2 millimeters for raised metal, and then make some adjustments if necessary. But I kind of liked this one a little more. Nice and thick, it's bold, it's got a little bit of a style to it, so I kind of ran with that idea. And here, these are the two ways that they typically... if you're not doing just raised printed text, then these are the ways that you could design text on the image. So one, you could either, this gray would be the plating, the metal plating. The blue color would be that 1 millimeter depth, the gullies. So you'd fill in the gullies with the color. The other way is to have that depth, those gullies be the outline of the text. It works if it's bold because it's not going to be too busy. You just have to, again, make sure that the depth is wide enough for the enamel. So you still have that 0.3 millimeter estimated minimum width so that can work. So you can outline or you can fill. But if you were to look at this, all of this silver is raised on the inside of the letters and the outside, and the line is the gully being filled with enamel. And you can incorporate either of those into the design. So if you are wanting to do smaller text, like if you were to look at, let's pull up the gallery for a second and see if there's one that stands out. Yeah, here's a good one. So in this example, they did the outlined text. So the green is enamel filled, and the outline is the plating. And there's no raised text in this one. The text is large enough that the enamel can work. One with, let's see if there's one with raised lettering. Usually they show up in designs that have a ring with text on it. Maybe this designer doesn't like them. Is that a good one? I think that's metal. That's filled in. I think that's filled in color. Well, there might not be one easily visible here. You'll tend to find that people like to do colored lettering rather than raised. Is that one? Nope, that's all colored. Just because, well, you have the flexibility of making it whatever color you want and any size. It'll pop out more. Yeah, anyway. So in this case, if I were doing smaller text, I might take a simpler font, even if it's Arial. Everybody loves Arial. Well, maybe not Arial. That's really thin. And then something simplistic, no flair, not flashy. And then that's usually what they'd go with in the design if they were going to edit what you sent them. So let's begin with our design. So first of all, sketch it and then create in the editor if you just want to draw it. So if I had that design, I could just start drawing on here, but I don't want to do that. I actually have this design right here I'm going to work with. So in this case, I like the idea of having rings. It gives the coin a little bit of solidness. So I would create my circle, let's say, center it. And so I'm not going to go into huge details, like every step of the process, because it would probably take a lot longer than one design session. But just to get a feel of how I might mock up design. So in this case, I want the hole to be on top. So let's make the outside the lowest level. Easiest way, I think, is to work with a grayscale. Then darker is deeper and lighter is higher, and then you can add color for the regions that you want. So in this case, the outside is going to be low, and then the inside would be high. But I want the inside of the ring to be low. Inside of the tag. Yeah, so now we have a raised ring. That's what I'm going to be working with. Now with this design, with the TGIF, I kind of like to bring things off to the side just a bit and kind of work up a general shape. TG. Kind of a stick style lettering. You know, like making a sign with letters. TG, and then an I, and then an F. Boom, 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 and boom. Now with those four basics, let's say fill it with purple for now. Oh, I didn't close that. Let's fix that. And so now we can kind of resize that, fit it in the middle. TGIF, that's kind of how it's going to lay out, I think. Align things a little nicer. And make it a little bigger. Okay. Now, had little ideas for having ticks around the outside, so I might go for box, center, oops, and take intersection, and let's raise that to the height. So now you can already start to see how that might be working. And let's duplicate that for each corner. And then we could do the same for the 45s. So I'm working really fast here just to lay out a basic sort of idea of how I want the design to look. And then I kind of wanted to have something else for that middle level, so a little lower than high. So on the outside, I don't want to have a lot of color. I'm just going to leave that the base metal. So what I want to do is I want to make a little triangle. So let's do it this way. That's not how I wanted to do it. Let's do that. And then, oops. Duplicate this and merge. Let's fill it with the middle level. No border. And you are going to go below the ring. Yep. And let's rotate you around the center. Let's put you about here. Okay. Duplicate, but to not the center there. Okay, let's try this. No. There we go. Boom, boom. And you, same thing. There, and there. Yeah. Okay. So we're just laying out that outer ring. And then what else? Oh, so I had I'm going to bring in, cache the line in the top. I have from prior tag designs, I already have an object that I know has been approved, so I can reuse that asset, which is another benefit of designing multiple tags. Let's shrink this down a bit. Yeah, don't want to overlay that. So let's fix this. So we want these colored regions to have the raised border. So they're going to be color, but we need to give them that 0.2 millimeter border. So I'm going to use the function, the contour function, which sends out another basically a border, the width that we want. So 0.2 millimeters, I'm going to fill it with the high level. And now we have a border that will hold the color inside. And I'll just finish that off for each of these. There. So now you notice that the border of this lettering is the same color as the ring, because what's going to happen is this border and the ring is all going to be the same height. All that's going to happen is there's going to be a gully here that they're going to fill the color in. This ring shouldn't have that. Oh, so the ring, remember the measurements for the ring, it's a 0.25 millimeter ring at least. So so if we go back here, I'm going to do the same thing and give it an outward contour of, well, let's make it 0.4 to be safe, 0.4 millimeters. And we have that. Now, yeah, I can make that bigger. So I'm going to break it apart and enlarge it a bit. Give it some solid feel to it. And what else was there? Oh, there's the swoosh. I need that swoosh. So let's get a swoosh down here. That was a bit too sharp. Let's fix that up a bit. Same thing. Let's make it a brown and give it that 0.2 millimeter border. There we go. And then I want it to have, so let's fix this out here. I want it to have a YouTube play button. So let's get a box. That is going to be, how did I want to do that? I think it was going to be a raised metal arrow, so filled color. So let's fill this red first of all with no border. We'll give it the, 0.2 millimeter. Well, what size? We can't have it too big because it's got to fit on the path tag. So if we put it there, yeah, give it that 0.2 millimeter border, and let's add a triangle, 3 sides, about that size, and we'll make that the raised metal. Rotate it so it's looking like the arrow, looking like the YouTube logo, and centered evenly. Yeah. And so now the thing to remember is, as well, when you're creating these, there's going to be, especially when you're just mocking things up, there's going to be some spots where there's tiny little tiny regions. Like, for example, if, let's say the T was over, but I wasn't watching, there's that tiny little sliver of a hole. That's not going to go over well in the design. So watching for positioning where there might be a hole, something a little too small or thin. Like this is starting to get really thin because that is a gap. It could be a color. So let's get you positioned a little nicer. Move you out. So now the other thing we got to think of is all those people who are going to get their names etched on this design. So we got to have space for that. Let's draw some boxes first of all, just to get a design. Let's start with the bottom here. So if we manage to fit initials into a box about that size, I think that's probably good. Yeah. Now, if you want to be super accurate and your application supports it, you can curve text. So a lot of people, if they're making a ring, they'll have text around the ring. And it looks really nice if it's fit to be circular with the curve. In this case, just to make it simpler for tonight, I'm just going to do straightforward, straight text. So let's get, we needed 8 spots. 1, this is just a placeholder. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think, yeah, that was how it's going to be. There'll be a few adjustments to make sure that all of it fits. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Get these ones up here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 2 more on the other side. And yeah, I think there's enough room for that. Yeah, we can go with that. So those are going to be where the initials of you guys, whoever wins, can go. And I'll drop in the Cache Align title on there. And I think this T, yeah, let's move that a bit because this guy's going to need some more space. Yeah, that's good. Okay. What else was there? So there was those. A few other ticks. So I already went through the design, and so that's how I would mock together this rough design. At this point, whatever program you're using, whether it's Paint or another vector program, those are the points to keep in mind for designing is, again, size of the regions for the enamels, the width of metal, because in this case, Here, like I was saying, this lighter color is the high level. This is kind of a mid level. So this is the 1 millimeter, and then that's the bottom level. So everything at that dark color to the bottom is 1 millimeter thick. So if you have something like this little section that is less than a millimeter wide, you're going to want to make sure that it's not too thin, because if it is, it might not mold properly. It might crack off. So always things to keep in mind when you're actually mocking up the design, if at this level of design. But here's what I came up with for a little better look. So I've got the TGIF, filled it with the 4 different colors, got the swoosh, the arrow, got the ticks in the corners. Everybody loves the cardinal directions. And then all the placements for the text. So I've already added a little bit of a font that should be fine. At this point, it's hard to tell, again, depending on how many letters there are and whatnot, what the people at Pathtags will think works. So again, keeping that basic concept in mind, straightforward, plain text, nothing too fancy for stuff like this. So these are going to be etched in. So this is the dark color, so it's going to be deep enough to be, if we wanted to put color in them. But so at this point, we've got 8 spots and a design using that same, all that same concept. And all the measurements should be accurate. So the next step now, once you've got that final result, you want to prep for the colors. So what happens is when you're designing, people have monitors that are different colors, right? Different hues, saturation levels, all of that. So what you see on your monitor might not be what the print actually creates, what they create on the minting process with the enamels. So the best recommended way is to use an objective resource for color. And typically that's something like the Pantone series of colors. So if you're working with a paint program, you've got your colors. It might be CMYK, it might be RGB, but what you'll want to do is try to come up with the closest Pantone color, and hopefully what your monitor shows you will be as close to that color, that physical color, as possible. And that will give the people at Pathtags the ability to make sure that the color is exactly how you want it. So for Corel, it has the benefit of color matching. So in this case, if I want that orange to be Pantone, I can go to my palette, change it to spot colors, Pantone, or where was it? Yeah, it was spot, Pantone plus, solid uncoated. That's a basic one with a good variety. And you can kind of see the colors are almost identical, so we'll go with that. And then I can take that one, apply it to the other oranges, and now I've got that Pantone 144U for that color. So you're going to want to do that with all of the colors just to be safe. Now, again, you don't have to go to that extent because it's going to be close enough. If you're just drawing colors in your paint program, then when you send that image as a JPEG off to them, it's not going to be precise. They're going to take a look at that, and if they don't have a guide as to what color you want, they'll just estimate the closest one, and they'll send that back to you, and then you can check it off. But if you want to be precise, then what you want to do is create a swatch of all the colors in your design. So in this case, I know I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 colors. So I can make 8 swatches, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and take these colors and set them into my color guide. So in this case now I would say this orange, I'd add a little bit of text. That's huge. Let's make it small enough and say this was, what was it, Pantone 144U, I think. That's what it was. Yep, 144U. And then you would do that with all of the other colors as well, and that gives them the best reference for the colors that you want. And that takes us to, there's the final design that I added a little bit of a shadow to the TGIF, and so you can also, if you really want to, you don't want to go for the Pantones, you can say things like the color, it's a red color, it's a black color. You know, that's fine. They'll put the best color for you. So now we've got these spots. GC Jaspery, I've already added. I think, has GC Jaspery mentioned, come in and mentioned a code? I don't think there has been. I think that name might be small enough. We'll see. That'll be part of the exchange back and forth with Pathtags. But I think before we get to the ordering process, I think we need to actually do this draw for people to get their names on here. So let's go check out the TGIF tag. We have a bunch of people already listed. So we got 8 to draw. If you haven't got it in there, I'll give you 5 seconds. Get your TGIF tag in there. 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, we'll get the first one drawn. You guys are in chat, so if you get your name, then give me a 4 to 6 character piece of text. Kathy Queering, you are number 1. What is your code? I'm going to keep a little note of this myself in a little notepad. Okay, and draw again. Let's get number 2. We have Geocaching with Hailmeister. If Hailmeister in the house, then comment with a code. And let's get another draw. That's 2. Up to 8. This could be faster. We have Taiva 28. Taiva 28. Put your name in there. A very short name. Let's get number 4. Come on, come on, come on. They need sound effects with this thing. Holly, Heart Valley Girl. Woo, okay. I think you are in chat as well. So let's get a code from you. I might draw more than 8 just in case. If you are in there, then make sure that you get a code in. We don't want to wait too long, but we want to fill up 8 names. Dave Ferris. Awesome. Another winner. We have 5. And let's go for number 6. We have Houston, Texas, Dave. Sweet. Another patron. Houston, Texas, Dave. And let's get 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. 2 more. 2 more to go. Remember, if you are in the chat, make sure you get your initials, something short we can add. Oh, Heart Valley Girl, she's already been drawn. Let's try it again. Ah, they should remove people who have already been drawn. Judy Earl, I know you're in chat because you are commenting right now. Judy Earl, congrats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. One more. And we need to get short forms. Brent Smith, aka Sim Rebel, you are number 8. Okay, so Houston, Texas, Dave has got his code. Let's add him in. If we need to, we might do some more spins because we got to get through this quick. Let's stick Dave over here. I think there might be room for that. So HTX Dave for the text width. Let's shrink the width a bit. And so what happens is with text like this, if they can use what you provide them, then they will. Otherwise, they might even change the font. I have sometimes had them come back with an updated design with a completely different font. I'm like, that doesn't look anything like it. So it's always good to be careful about that and be ready for that which is why it's good to use something simple. Okay, Heart Valley Girl, HVG. Awesome. Let's get HVG in here. Yes, with some width. Shrunk down just a little bit. That's probably good. And Hailmeister, hail. All hail the Hailmeister. Okay, hail. That's good. And we have, who else was there? Brent, you commented, but we need a name. We need a short form. Okay, so we've got 4 in so far, and we need 5 more to go. You know, I might just do another winner, and then whoever is in chat and gets their name in first. So next up, we've got, we're still going. We got to fill this in. Brent again. Brent, you're in chat. Yes. Okay, what do we have coming up next? Let's get another person, someone new. It is Wolfwalker. Sweet. Okay, so let's Wolfwalker. If you're still in chat, make sure that you get your initials in there. I probably didn't think this too much through. How long this is going to take. Come on. We need some active people in chat. You put your hashtag in there. Hopefully you're still around. Geopoly. You're next on the list. Okay, let's do another one. Where are you? Next in chat, we've got Colleen Smith is up. Wolfwalker. Okay, Wolfwalker. WW. That's good. Okay, let's get... Whoops. There we go. Let's put Wolfwalker up here. Let's make it WW. A full length. Yeah. And then... Brent. Yes isn't a word. Yes isn't a name. Give us a short form that we can put on the tag. Oh, Judy Earl, you see mine, ZM43. That's what you'd like? Okay, so ZM number 3. ZM43 for Judy. And let's shrink the width just a bit. Yeah. Okay. And... oh, let's make that a capital. Okay. Oh, text replacement. I don't want that to be replaced. Come on. Oh, why are you doing that? Corel. Let's... why do you keep doing that? I don't want you to change. No. Okay. Geopoly. Okay, who are we missing? Geopoly and Colleen. So Polly, let's shrink the width just a bit. And I tend to have fonts that I fall back on or use the most commonly, because they're the most versatile. You know what, let's put you here because there's space for it. And... rotate you just a bit. And let's put HM5 for Colleen Smith up here. That works nicely. And SimReb, S-Rebel. I think S-Rebel could work. Let's use S-Rebel. Oops. Right, get these out. Yes, S-Rebel. Capital R? No. Okay. Let's go with that. Shrink the width just a bit. Yeah. Why? I wish that it wouldn't keep changing. You know what? What can we do this? Quick correct. Correct 2 initials, consecutive capitals. Let's get that off of there. Yeah, there we go. ZM43. Boom, there we go. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9. Did I count? I didn't count right. Okay, so now we want to fix this so it at least looks decent. I think I might change all of these to all caps. It sometimes it just looks better if things are all capitals. So let's play with that a bit. GC Jaspery, ZM43. The font size, about the same. I have caps lock on. HM5, Hail, S, Rebel, S, Rebel, there we go, and Poly. There we go. Now, let's get... Oh, all right, Hershey makes 5. That's what HM5 stands for. Okay, you know what? I'm going to move Houston, Texas up here and Hale down just because, oops, there's a little more room. There we go. A little more room for Texas, Dave. GC Jaspery. You know what? I think I'm going to move Polly down and Jaspery up. Oops. Come on up here. Ooh, that's tight. You know what? Jaspery isn't in chat, so I'm just going... This was the winner of the Instagram, so I've got to put the name in here. I'm just going to put GCJ and leave it at that. Let's move Polly up just a bit. Oops. And I wonder if GC Jaspery could go... Let's put... I'm a stickler for balance and a perfectionist, which isn't good for very fast designing. Let's put S Rebel here and GC Jaspery up here. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's good. That'll be good. Rotate this a little more. Closer to the hole. Yeah, it's not too bad. Okay. We have a design. So Hailmeister says you might just be able to use Jaspery, which is a real geocaching name. Oh, okay. So GC Jaspery is just for Instagram. That's good. That's a good thing. I might do that then. Let's take out... Let's make this just Jaspery. Oops. Jaspery. There we go. And then shrink the size just a smidge. And I think this one can come down a bit. I think there's... It looks like there's still just barely enough room not to be too small on that metal spacing. So this is an example of where, you know, if you had a lot of text, where actually curving it around the curve would look better than what we have here. Because if we were to rotate this, let me get this in the bottom. There we go. If we were to look at this from other angles, you can kind of see how it might look. And I'm too much of a perfectionist. HM5. Because you don't necessarily see how it really looks when you're trying to twist your head to make it look right. That's probably good. Let's rotate this a little more, make sure it looks decent. This Rebel. ZM43. Yep, Poly looks balanced. HVG. Hail. Hail. That's good. Houston, Texas, Dave, HM5. Okay, let's get this back to 0. All right. So I filled out all the colors. We've got all these Pantones and red. We've got the depth, middle range, the ticks at the height. The ring is just going to be a solid ring. Colors with the shadow. All of the black Sonas, adding these shadow portions. Again, while moving these around, I had to make sure that the black wasn't too small, because that would have been way too thin, right? That would have been too thin of a region for the enamel. So that is a little closer to the 0.2 millimeters. So now, how they adjust, say, this little tick, they might just make that solid and remove the tick. That's one of the things that you'll see when they come back with an updated design. And that's fine. If they have to do that, that's fine. Don't want to spend too much time trying to be absolutely precise. Not this evening. So now the last thing you want to do, we've got the colors. I'm actually going to also make note of the mid-range, the 3 heights, just so that they're aware that there are 3 heights. Let's get top, and then raised is this little middle one, and depth, or the lowest point, is that dark one. You know what? Let's make it a little darker. Let's go full dark. I think that should be enough. The words should be dark as well. There's just minor tweaks so that it's more obvious where the differences are. And HM5, let's get that one to the dark level as well. Nothing else was just raised, so the middle ones, let's... That middle, I think that was a middle depth. Actually, yeah, I like that. Let's put that triangle as a middle as well. One, two, that one, and 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 that one. That's all good. And then middle depth, yeah, that's more visible. Okay, so middle is that shade, and dark is 2 up that shade. Okay, now we see it a little better. Let's get that noted. 1, 2, 3. Oops. Silver plating, raised metal, and base. It should be clear to them that it's 3 levels. I can't remember what the actual specific terms are. So now we need to export. Recall that the recommendation was 500 by 500. That's all they need in order to make the design. But let's put it to, yeah, let's save it as TGIF path tag. And it's a JPEG. I'm going to export it to, let's say, okay, in pixels, 500 by 500. Let's make it, just to be clear, 700 pixels. It doesn't make too much of a difference, the amount of detail you get, but that they get, but it's helpful. So let's go with that. So it's 967 by 700, and done. Now, one other thing. So this is a design that's based on very like graphical elements. There are people that want to make an image. Like I mentioned before, there are some path tags that are very picturesque. So you get things like these pictures that they want to create into path tags. So if you remember from the cover, on the TGIF, I have a little this little icon that I use in the covers for the photos. So this is a photo that, let's say I wanted to make a path tag out of this. This has to become solid colored borders, bordered solid colors. So in this case, it can get very technical, or not technical, but intricate, Or I might want to, let's say, start off with, okay, I've got to make, say, the facial hair a dark color. So it draws a circle and make sure it's connected. Let's get this connected in here. Boom. And then, yeah, let's get this. And then the way that Corel works, I'm just kind of drawing regions. Very close and personal with the mouth. There we go. Connect it in and combine them, and let's make it a brownish color. Boom. And then I might highlight some shadows. Highlight some shadows? Around, make that nose feature. So now we're basically kind of making a comic style appearance of the realistic image. So let's get that filled in. I would draw I'm just going to do this really rough. The white glasses, outline, and then subtract the lenses. 1 and 2. And then I'd add the white rings. Anyway, you get the idea. Like, you'd have to be creating a solid color enamel style image. And so the final result of that might be this. So this is where you get kind of the weird pictures. Like, I think there are apps that will do this as well. But it could be intricate to try to get something that looks relatively decent. Now, in this version that I did, all of those regions are surrounded by black. The line border is black. So this is where you have to remember that border color is going to be the metal. So it would look like this on a black nickel plated path tag. But if I wanted to do silver or copper or gold, those lines would look completely different. So it might look something like this. So now we've got silver lines. So now imagine that on a path tag with a silver path tag, or the copper or gold path tag. So you kind of have to keep in mind how it would look with the different metal plating if you're going to be bordering solid colors like that. And if I were to make a path tag of this based on the certain type of metal, I might come up with something like that. So that might be how I end up making that little icon into a path tag. Just whip that together as an idea. So there are endless options, and like I said, you can look through the gallery and see how other people have created their tags from photos, from images, to make it look more hand-drawn than a realistic photo. You know what? Who knows? Maybe in the future, I might actually make that a path tag. That's just a personal path tag. Okay, so we've got to get into placing the order. So we're on the website. When we want to buy a tag, order a new path tag. In this case, we are just going to be creating a traditional path tag, just your basic path tag. One side, a standard back, nothing special, but that custom design. So I would click on order a traditional path tag, and now you've got all these options. They really need to put this sample kit in that design guide. But if you really want to, you can order a sample kit of all of the colors. It gives you a swatch of all of the glitter effects, the glow, and all the different colors of enamel that they use. So you can have it in your hand and see how it looks. And I believe there is a reference to the colors as well, so that you can actually say, I want this specific color, and then put that in your design to upload. So they'll give you tips. We've gone over most things already. Good thing to note is they have shipping rates to US, Canada, and Australia, and everywhere else. Australia is through the roof. But yeah, Canada, US shipping is the cheapest, and Canada is close behind. So order a new traditional path tag. You've got the steps. So that's just your first reference page. Upload front design. So this is where you would take the image, the JPEG that you just exported, and upload that. So I'm going to choose it. Where did I actually save it? Ugh, let me get this. Put it up here. Okay, path tag design. And then you click upload. And then it shows you the image that you just sent them. So it doesn't have to be huge. 500. I typically upload, make it the image 600 to 800 pixels on the width or height, the small size, and make sure that it also includes the swatch, just to make sure that they've got the right colors. So you notice how it's a little different now. I forgot that I was actually working in CMYK, and well, we'll see how that we'll see what they return, because it exported as an RGB JPEG, not the CMYK. So yeah, this is where it gets fun when you're working with CMYK, and why that Pantone is so important, because then it's going to be the same on your screen as well as in print. Should be. Anyway, so we've got that. That basic order, you get 50 tags in your order, and the cost will be 120 plus shipping and handling of US dollars. So that's done. Hit next, and now you choose your quantity. When you're creating a brand new path tag, just the base amount, the base quantity, this is the only time that you can get 50. If you want more, you can add 50 to it at $1.22 each, or continue on. If you get a refill, you're always going to be ordering at least 100. So that's why if you get that initial starter kit, you get 50. You could get 100. It updates the cost up top. So we're just going to go with the base quantity. And yeah, it gives you little tips for whatever you might be using them for, recommending how many you might want to order. So we're just getting 50. Hit next, onto the plating. So now in this case, this is where you can choose your different plating. Shiny silver, that's your basic path tag. You can choose to pay more per tag at 15 or 10 cents each. Again, they mention the sample kit has all the different platings. And like we're going over with that last tag design, the plating can have an effect on the color of the borders that you're using for those enamels. So in this case, the silver made a lighter border, where if they were using black, then the black might get lost around the eyebrows. So something to, again, keep in mind. And then you hit next again and go to tag backings. They have a huge list of available backs. They've done a neat job with this, because you can use standard backs, or they've got some that people have created to help raise funds. So portions of income from people ordering path tags with that back will go towards fundraising, or a company, if it's like say it's a mega event or something that they've created a backing for. If you create path tags with that backing, it'll help support the event. So lots of neat functions like that. But the standard ones are all free. You get into the more complex ones or custom ones. Hey, there's a Worldwide Cash Fest backing. Use that backing and you'll help support the event. But that is an extra 10 cents each, just like most of them. So we're just going to go with the standard back. I always like to use this swoosh traily back. It kind of goes with the Cache the Line design. So I'm going to choose that, crossed paths, and then hit next. And now you can choose your serial number. The standard one is, again, that sequence of 7 digits. And the vanity code is a one-time fee of $20 to get whatever code you want on there. So we're just going to go with the random. It doesn't cost extra. And hit next. Along the way, like you see, there's blocks of text. They'll give you little tips and information while ordering. Now you've got the option to choose your specific colors. So when we're designing, if, let's say these yellow regions, let's say I wanted the yellow to be a glittery yellow, then I would have on that swatch, I would have, say, a square that has the yellow in it, and I just add a little text to say glitter. Whoa, that's huge. That's good. Glitter yellow, let's say. And then when I get to the order, if I already know what glitter I wanted, then on this list I can say it was this one that I wanted. So you can say that. It's translucent number 4. This isn't glitter. This is translucent. So that's the code for this particular color. And that is the code that I would put specifically on this swatch. So it would be translucent number 4. There's a little bit of research if you want to do special stuff like that beforehand, just to make sure you get the right information. Plus, if you describe that, then you can work on that back and forth with the website during that approval process to make sure they've got the right translucent, the right special on there. But that translucent costs an extra 10 cents each. So we don't have any translucent in the TGIF design. So just choose no translucent and next. Same with the glitter, exactly the same process as before. You'd make sure that you'd put the code for the one that you want on that legend, the color legend. But we don't have a glitter color, so no glitter. And that's it. So we go to next. Front glow. Again, we have no glow colors, but this is where you choose glow number 7 or glow number 5 and put that in your legend for the one that you want. You need to know that obviously before uploading the image. You can go back and upload a different design. So if you're going through here and realize, oh wait, I want that to be glow, then you can go back to your design, put in the glow code and the legend, resave the image, and then go back to upload it again, and go through that process. Essentially, all you're doing is making sure that you've got all the colors, the glitters, the enamels, all labeled the way that you want. That's this whole process. I said no glow, right? No. No front glow. Next. Shipping and payment. This is where you choose how you want. You have the option to defer payment. That means that the order will be in the system, but you can't, but they won't start it until you make the payment. That's good if you're trying to plan other things as well with that process, with the design. Maybe you're doing an event and you're trying to get everything all together. So we're gonna go do defer payment for now. The promotional code has already been added for April, which is $10 off. So you just hit next, and then you've got all the fine print. You can read through all this if you want to. Yes, accepted all this. Take me to the review page. And, oh, missing shipping information. Oh, I guess the, there's shipping and payment. Oh, the details are wrong. So the shipping needs to be all correct. Where's Canada? And Ontario. There we go. Okay, that's all good. Now we hit next. Now we hit yes and accept. Oh, okay. So this might be a bug. What? Front glow. This might be a bug in their in their interface. Let's do this again. No front glow. Yep. Shipping agreement. There we go. So now you've got the order, the starter kit order placed. 50 total tags. Base cost, all your fees, subtotal order. Shipping was 10. We've got a $10 discount, so it's still 120. And then shipping, complete the order, confirm details, and pay. And boom, it's done. So when you come to the website, it will always remind you if there is an outstanding order that isn't paid. Because it's going to sit in their system as an incomplete. So at some point, you're going to want to come in and make that payment, and then it'll go through to production. And that is how you create a standard basic path tag. So everybody who has their initials on this rim, you guys are going to be getting 2 of these path tags, and I don't know what I'm going to do with the rest. So that was 8... 16. Yeah, it's going to be 50, so there's going to be a whole bunch. Maybe I'll toss them around, or if you find me at an event, maybe you'll get a copy. We shall see. So if there were any other questions or anything that I missed or did something wrong, then please let me know. If you're not watching this live and there's something you want to add, then post in a comment, because we want to make sure that this is a decent guide. We went through the whole design process. You can use whatever program. I'm not so much an Adobe guy, but that might be your cup of tea. So let's see what else. Anything that I missed? I don't think there was anything else that went past. Yep. So once again, I want to thank everybody who was in chat and participating. I'm sure if there were questions that were easy, then let's do this final step. So the order has been placed, but now it's payment is pending. If there's a design that's ordered, it'll sit here, and now you get to wait for them to contact you. You get an email notification that the order is placed, and then you'll get another notification that there's been an update and they are waiting your approval. When that happens, you get to review the updated graphic because there might be changes to it. And then you can respond with the thumbs up or thumbs down and give a little bit of an instruction as to what you want changed if you don't like it. And then again, that's the back and forth until you give it a thumbs up, and then it goes into production. And that can take anywhere from a couple of months to a couple more months. But it comes out of China, so it kind of all depends on how well shipping and mail and work, all that stuff is happening at any one time. If there are major delays to shipping for Pathtags, then they'll typically give a little bit of a notice. Like sometimes up top, there'll be a little red notice saying that things might be getting delayed. It was like that at the beginning of the pandemic, for instance. So they're very good at making sure that you get what you want and what you like. If it cannot be done, then you can work with people to figure out how to make it work. I think that was about it. So let's see this path tag again. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, for just a quick, simple little path tag, I think that looks kind of neat. The colors looked a little different on the export because this is CMYK, but we'll see how it works out on their end when they send it back. I should have started in RGB. That's the fun part of doing design work for print versus design work for monitors and digital web-based stuff. Anyway, yes, if you have any questions, post in a comment below, and hopefully this guide was helpful for you. And again, if you are a patron, then on the higher tiers, one of those options is I'll give you a free tag design if you want. So consider it. There's a lot of options. You can visit patreon.com/cashtheline to check out what you get as various patron tiers. And there's a lot of stuff coming patrons ways this year, something like that. There's a whole bunch of events in the summer, and I'm looking forward to seeing all of you, whoever is able to make those events. We've got Cash Fest in July, and then Midwest Geobash in July, and then we've got Geo Woodstock out in BC in August, and Geocaching HQ's 20th anniversary, 2 years late celebrations. So lots of stuff happening, and so make sure you're up on all of that. Judy asks, how will we receive the path tags? That is a good question. Yeah, email me, thebruce@cashline.net. I'll put that email up again, and then we'll organize from there to get mailing information. Once the tags are in my hands, I will get them to you ASAP. If you have your GC code as well, then email that, because that could be just another point of contact. Yes, and don't forget to like this video if you are watching or you are here live. Please do, because that'll help it spread to more people. You gotta fight the algorithm. So thank you for your support, and I will see you in the next video, which is coming soon. Hope you have a wonderful weekend. The weather is getting so good out there now, hopefully, and summer for Northern Hemisphere is right around the corner. On that note, tune in on Sunday for Challenge Talk. We are announcing our Challenge Academy for Cache Fest. You don't want to miss that. And yeah, we'll see you in the next video. Happy caching and excellent adventuring. Aha! Ooh, yeah.